Commissioner Jimmy Milstead here with the League Fantasy Hockey Storksdesk episode 3, as it is Wednesday. I almost forgot what day it was. Wednesday, October the 19th, 2022. All the days run together anymore, but we got a TNT here in the States, Hockey Wednesday doubleheader. I'm not sure what it is up there from my Canadian buddy Kevin Stork, but Kevin Stork has joined me for episode 3 of the Storks Desk. How you doing, buddy? North of the border.
Very good, Jimmy. Looking forward to some hockey tonight, and we've only got 3 games going tonight, but we're almost midweek of our week 2 of our season, so this is pretty exciting after getting 1 week behind us.
Yeah, it was a busy week indeed. Our first week in the books. 9-day slugfest between all 12 managers. 6 matchups are in the books. We'll go over those here in a little bit, but I thought it was a great week. Any things that stand out you as far as the National Hockey League week 1 is concerned?
Well, I mean, our league were some interesting scores, but a couple of surprises, and everybody's, of course, getting to learn their team and what their strengths are. And it's going to get easier as the time goes, but it's going to be getting tougher because everybody wants to win.
Yep, it's all about, I don't know if you can see it, the Stork Cup right here. That's
what it's all about right there, Jimmy.
Held on the previous shows, but yeah, some big-time storylines here early on in the NHL season. And in our own fantasy league, things that stand out to me right now, a team that's playing tonight on the light schedule, the Philadelphia Flyers. They've come out of the gates under a new coach, John Tortorella. He's got them pumped and ready to go. They're playing off a back-to-back tonight against the Panthers. But Torts won last night against the defending Eastern Conference champions down in Tampa, their home opener. Just real quick, your thoughts on the Philadelphia Flyers going right now? Crazy.
Well, I mean, it's early in the season, so we can't. I mean, we know who Torts is and what he's all about. It's not the good times you have to worry about. It's when things go a little sour. The true Torts comes out. So we'll see how that goes, because every team hits a roadblock, and Torts doesn't do roadblocks very well.
No, he does not indeed, sir. He's been a couple of pit stops here and there, but he usually, I don't know, there's some players on his team that I think that have taken a liking of him. I know James Van Riemsdyk, I heard on one podcast, digging his coaching style. But Flyers, like we said, let's see what they can do tonight against the Panthers, the defending President's Trophy winners. But speaking of the Panthers, and more storylines, a lot of long-term IR listings today, Stork. I'll just name a couple offhand. This bodes for our fantasy league. I don't have in front of me who had Gabriel Landeskog, but the captain from the Stanley Cup defending champions looks like he's going to be out 12 weeks, Stork. And then we had, I had my list here. Captain of the Florida Panthers, who's playing tonight, Aaron Ekblad. Looks like he's on LTIR. I haven't clicked on to see what his injury prognosis is, but I know he's on the Whalen Womack's Washington Wendigo. He was scurrying today to put him on IR. Connor Brown of the Washington Capitals. He had a leg injury on Canucks. He's out long-term for the Capitals. So, and then just across my waiver wires, I'm coming home from work. Detroit Red Wings Jake Vrana is going to be entering a player assistance program. I believe he's on Jaden's roster. The Texas Freezing Kuznetsov. Have you seen that yet, Stork? I haven't
seen that. I heard something about it, but I haven't read about what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
It sounds like he needs some time on a personal level to get things straight in his career and his life.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with Carey Price recently last year, and all I can, as a fan of the Washington Capitals, he's a 2018 Stanley Cup champion, great player. I know he hasn't really settled in and found his niche with Detroit. I know every time he's played a game in Detroit, he's just played great. So my hat's off, and I hope all the best for Jake. He gets his issues straightened out, whatever they may be. I haven't really read into it, but that'll be a long hit or a hard hit for Jaden's Texas Freezing Kuznetsov squad, who lost last week due to goaltending, but because he also is going to be missing Yevgeny Kuznetsov tomorrow night, who had a stick infraction on a Canuck Monday's game. He ended up getting a suspension. So a little adversity going for the young Jaden Halsey here in our league, but I think he's got his goaltender straightened out, and he's ready to fight through this early season adversity in his matchup, as he also has a lead right now, I believe, against Julio Virilius. But anything to add to that, Stork?
Well, I mean, as you know, in hockey, everybody's going to face some injury woes. And of course, as you know, that's where depth takes over. If you got a good, deep team, you can get by some injuries. But if a team gets hit with multiple injuries, it's really hard to come back on.
All right. So, speaking of our week one, we went over results on the Commissioner's Corner, but I never had a chance to really talk to you about weeks ones. Real quick, we can go back over the results on week one. Let's go just quickly run down the scores. The matchup of the week for Don Cherry was DB Cooper, 15. He beat the DuPont Pipers and Tim Kelly, 15-6. Speaking of the Texas Freezing Kuznetsov, it was a father versus son matchup in week one, the first of three in the Ovechkin division. Father Josh Halsey and his Wyoming Great Apes beat Jaden's squad 12-9. Jaden would have probably got over the hump there if had he had any goaltending starts. He ran into some issues there. Stork, the Langley Scorpions, were on the road against Dave Snellgrove's Probert Etiquette. 13-7, Stork falls to Dave Snellgrove's squad. Jimmy Milstead's Adna Americans, the most lopsided matchup of the weekend, or the week, beat Waylon Womack's Washington Wendigo. That's what it is. It's a cryptid. I always pronounce it Wendigo, but a Wendigo. I think it's folklore for Native Americans. It's like they're haunted like Bigfoot or something out there. For you cryptology enthusiasts, you can probably educate me a little bit more on that. But I know more about Bigfoot. But anyways, Adna 18, Washington 2. And then Don Cherry's preseason pick, Scott Lanham. He really likes that squad, the Nova Fire Brigade. They had an impressive win over Mark Wood's Woody Woodpeckers. I know offhand the most eye-opening stat for Mark last week, as he lost to Scott 13-6. He was a minus 15 on his roster. So that stat stood out to me. We'll go over some stats from last week as well after I read off the final score. The Frozen Norseman, Nick Reedy, who didn't get enough street cred from Don Cherry and the prognosticator. He gets the win and gets the last laugh. Let's see how he can respond this week. But he beat Julio Virilius Yuma 12-7. So out of those scores, Stork, let's talk about your matchup. How'd you feel in your match?
Well, Snellgrove flew out of the gate and got a big lead right away, and I chipped away at it through the week and cut it down a little bit, but I just ran out of days and games to catch him, and it was an easy win for Snellgrove, but I got him marked on the calendar for our next meeting, so we'll see how that goes.
Attaboy. Yeah, as we talked about in a previous episode, division opponents, the Ovechkin and the Gretzky divisions, all together 3 times, and they're going to be so important. So big victories for all those winners. Condolences to the losers. I myself came out of the gate pretty quick with the Ad Americans that European trip to Prague, the global series. Nino Niederreiter, the Nashville Predators, had a good couple of days, and it seemed like A few teams just got off on early starts and then just never let go of the gas. There was also some choppiness in the scheduling. So far, we've only had one St. Louis Blue game. They played tonight against the Kraken in the nightcap. That's TNT in the States. I'm sure that's like TSN out there, I guess, or whatever, CBC. But the Blues are finally going to play again. So there's squads that are probably just not adjusting yet. But we're going to see some more fluidity here as the schedule is back to normal this week, Monday to Sunday. So any thoughts on the scheduling so far, Stork?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the start of the season, week one is a little choppy for games played because teams are just getting settled. And of course, we had two teams that were traveling from Europe back home, so they needed a couple of days to rest. And I think when we hit week three, the schedule will equal out and we'll be back to normal and we can take it from there. But yeah, St. Louis only playing one game. Anybody who has some Blues on their team is like, well, where's my stats? But they'll be coming.
Yep, for sure. Speaking of that, the Vancouver Canucks, they started their season on the road so far. I know we're wanting to touch base on them. Last night, they ended up blowing their fourth straight to start the year multi-goal lead. I believe they opened up against the Edmonton Oilers, had a 3-0 lead, lost. Then they started traveling Eastern. Game two, they were on the East Coast playing those upstart Philadelphia Flyers. I believe they had a 2-0 lead in that game. That was a Saturday game. So, I mean, maybe time adjusted for them for that. You maybe have an excuse, but they ended up losing that game 3-2, I think the final was. And then they were in Washington to play my Caps on Monday night. The Caps had a terrible second period. That one kind of was back and forth in the beginning, but I believe the Canucks ended up with a 4-2 lead at one point, and then they end up losing 6-4 in that one. And then last night, Stork, the Knuckleheads 2-0 lead in Columbus, who would get to win a game. Then they end up losing at 5-3. I don't have the scores in front of me, but crazy. Bruce Boudreau already 4 games in, overreaction opening week. But Canadian markets, they don't. They step on the pressure. Bruce Boudreau's got to be feeling. I think he at one point said to his team had no heart or something at the end, or they're. I can't remember the quote I heard today on Daily Faceoff, but he kind of just put his team through the rigor.
Yeah, I mean the Canucks have played well for 40 minutes in each of those games, and the third period has not been kind for the last 4 games. However, they at least had managed to grab a point because they lost in overtime last night. So at least they got a point, but they can't be happy with their start, but they can be happy with their first 40 minutes because they were scoring goals and playing well. Third period hit and they just fell apart.
Exactly. I'm trying to see. I'm on NHL.com again, and it's just they've revamped their thing, and I'm not going to mess with it too much. I was going to see who Vancouver played again, who next. I don't know if you have that in front of you, but I didn't want to spend too much time on them, but I was just going to be interested to see who they played next. But while I pull that up, what's on the first topic would you like to talk about? Review the last week's matchups.
Well, I mean, we could talk about this week's matchups. Of course, you and me are going at it this week. And
for sure.
You took the same playbook out of Snellgrove's book on how to beat Langley. And you're doing the same thing to me, off to a big start. And I got to play catch up for the rest of the week. But hopefully a better result for me this week.
Yeah, there's a long way to go, Stork, in this week. The schedule is pretty beefy all week. Of course, there was no Sunday games in week 1. That was a weird scheduling.
That's weird right there, yeah.
Yeah, so that right there ended a lot of people's chances.
I needed a Sunday last week, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, you'll get one this week. I think the schedule looks pretty good.
Get one this week. So watch out, Jimmy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, I found the Canucks next game. And get this, Stork. against the winless Minnesota Wild tomorrow night, or is that Thursday night? The Wild, another team who's come out of the rigors, great offense, just can't stop the puck. Thoughts on Marc-Andre Fleury and their goaltending?
Well, I mean, I think we touched on this on week 1 about Fleury and my concerns with him.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't remember if that was a broadcast.
Yeah, he's a great goalie. He's had a wonderful career, but he's getting long in the tooth, and I just don't think he has what it takes to play a full season. I don't see him getting more than 30 games this year, but if they're relying on Fleury to carry them, not going to happen, man. I'm concerned about it.
For sure. And it doesn't help them. They got rid of Cam Talbot, even though he's hurt in Ottawa.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think they're going to have some problems in Minnesota in that.
Correct. Did you want to go into the week 1 more analysis, or you want to talk about week 2? Since we've got about
week 2.
Go on to week 2. Okay.
Hurting my feelings anyway.
Real quick, I didn't know if I go over this on the commissioner's corner, but week 1 star ended up being Sidney Crosby in the National Hockey League and as well as our league. Number 2 star, we gave it to Connor McDavid, and that was who the number 2 star was in the NHL. The NHL's 3rd star of the week was off my team, the goaltender Jake Ottinger. I thought he had a great week. Goals against was tremendous, and he's still, I think he had a 4-1. The Dallas Stars are 4-0.
Yeah. He's a heck of a goalie, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And he's only
but our 3rd star, I gave it. Yeah, he small sample size. Well, I mean, he's been playing for a while, but last year's playoffs, he's the only reason I think Dallas was in that series against the Calgary Flames before they eventually got eliminated. But Dallas is looking good. But our 3rd star, we gave it to Travis Konecny of Philadelphia Flyers. Just wanted to touch base on those 3 stars. I'm excited to see how it's going to go this week. But real quick, those Dallas Stars, I think there's a couple undefeated teams left. They play your Leafs tomorrow night. So that'll be appointment television. The Leafs. We were gonna.
I don't even want to talk about the Leafs.
They ended up losing to the Coyotes, who they just seem to always have a problem against.
Oh, wait a minute! I got a bucket, so just in case I hurl, if you keep saying Leafs.
All right, Stork. But let's talk about this week's matchups, I guess. How do you want to do this?
Well, we can go over the games this week and maybe update the score for everybody in case they haven't had a chance to go online and look.
Oh, real quick, while we have a chance, I didn't mean to interrupt you again. I know I'm terrible at that. I meant to get this in Don Cherry's Grapevine Power Rankings. This is something I didn't do on the Commissioner's Corner. I got to eventually figure out how to put this graphic up. But Grapes, he moved up his rankings. Our number 12 team coming in this week is Wayland's Washington Wendigo, just purely on score. I think he's got a good team, but he fell from the 10th spot down to last. Jaden is fallen down to number 11. He was in number 6 of his preseason poll, purely on the fact that he didn't use a goalie. So right now, I think Cherry's penalizing teams for just how their weeks 1s went. Julio is ranked at number 10. He just falls 1 spot. He was preseason number 9. I think his team's good too. The Woody Woodpeckers, they fall from number 7 to number 9. Your Langley Scorpions, Stork, were preseason pick number 8 for him. You stayed right there, he says. The Wyoming Great Apes, they won, and they ended up falling 3 spots down to number 7. The DuPont Pie Players, they were ranked number 1 coming in, and they dropped to number 6, ended up losing. The Frozen Norsemen, Nick's team, they were not given any credit. Nick, Don Cherry's giving you credit. You were the 11th ranked team. You're ranked number 5. The Commissioners, Adna Americans, they were the preseason number 12. They are number 4. The DB Cooper, they fell from number 2, even though they won, to number 3. That's because Prover Etiquette number 5 has jumped up to number 2. And then before the preseason poll, or after the preseason poll from Don Cherry, he loved Nova Fire Brigade to win it all. No pressure to Scott Lamb, but he is this week's number one ranked team. So enough of me flapping my gums, Stork. Your thoughts on the Don Cherry's poll?
They sound pretty accurate. You came out flying, and even though the low ranking, you look pretty darn good last week. So, and I know Cherry likes Nova. Yeah, I still have them as a bubble team. It's a long season. We're only 1 week into the league, and a lot of things are going to happen before 21 games are played. So, but if you like, I'll go over today or the scores here in week 2 as we head into Wednesday's games. Adna, you're up on Langley 14-5. I'm going to catch you. Watch. Texas freezing, a 12-7 lead over Yuma. DB Cooper, and this is my game of the week, DB Cooper and Wyoming. Wyoming has an 11-6 lead right now. And Probert is up on Washington 11-9. Probert, of course, looking for their second straight win. And the Fire Brigade from Nova has an 8-4 lead over the Frozen Norsemen. So that'll be something interesting. A couple of teams coming off week 1 wins. And another team that I like, and I think they're going to be right up there despite losing to DB Cooper last week, and that's the Pipe Layers. They have a 13-5 lead over Mark Wood and his Woody Woodpeckers.
Outstanding. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Wednesday, a light schedule tonight. I know there's a lot of people with some drama already to their rosters, and it's still early, guys. There's going to be a lot of games Thursday, I believe, and even Friday, right? Friday's kind of light, and then Saturday picks up, and then we have some more matchups on Sunday. So there's a long week to go here in this week too. Don't be stressing. You're gonna want to win every category you can get, though.
We have an update in the Philadelphia, Florida game. The Panthers are up 1-0.
Oh, great! Yeah, I see the goal scorer is Carter Verhage from Barkov and Radko Gudis. Radko, fantasy-wise, big hitter. I can't remember who has him. I think Yuma. The Yuma do. That's a big
Yuma do.
A big stat for hitting. Radko Gudis, I believe, led the league in hits last year. But Carter Verhage, great playoff against my Caps. That's his first goal of the year. So interesting there, Stork. Don Cherry's matchup of the week, though, speaking of Nova Fire Brigade, Scott Lanham, I believe Nova Fire Brigade versus was it the Frozen Norsemen? Yes, that is.
They're playing the Norsemen. They're up 8-4 right now.
Yeah, I think the big reason Cherry loves that team is because of the Crosby McKinnon 1-2 punch down the middle. He loves that, and we haven't really looked at his roster too much and talked about it, but sorry, my internet goes slow when I have the multiple tabs going. But Scott, there we go. Yeah, I just wanted to peruse real quick who else he had. He has Kyle Connor. He'll be playing tonight. He's a 40-goal scorer. He might get to 50 maybe. We'll see how the Jets do this year. But his goaltending too. What are you thinking of your boy Ilya Samsonov, former Washington Capital? He goes to Toronto now. That's his goaltender along with Freddie Anderson, a former Leaf. What are you thinking of Sammy's performance so far in a Leaf uniform?
Well, he's played well in both games that he's played, and he's going to be relied on in Toronto now that Murray, what a surprise, is hurt. So now we need Ilya to step up and be a number one.
What happened to Matt Murray? Was he hurt in practice?
Yeah, he hurt himself in practice. I don't know what he did, but he's out for some time. And that's just Murray, which was my concern when they signed him. I thought, oh my God, Murray he's prone to get hurt. And he didn't even get hurt during the game. He got hurt in practice. I mean,
Yeah, crazy. Well, those goaltenders, man, they do. I'm not a member of the goaltending union. Got to be flexible and all the stuff they do in practice. I couldn't do it. But
well, I'm hoping Samsonov steps up, and I like the kid. I'm glad that they did sign him. That made me happy. Murray, I was a little concerned about, but when they signed Samsonov, I thought, okay, well, we've got a legitimate backup goalie who has a lot of promise. He's still a kid, and hopefully he doesn't get under. I mean, I don't know how he's going to be under pressure in the bubble that you play in Toronto, because everybody's watching him, and I don't know how he's going to handle that because he didn't have to face that in Washington.
Yeah, I'm a believer in the kid, even though I just think it was probably time to move on. Just as far as I think he needed to change the scenery. He's a young kid. He'll hopefully get. I hope he can survive in that tough market. But he apparently seems to be doing okay. He wasn't the goaltender against the Yotes, the Shalgren guy, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But we'll see. All teams, like you said, are going to go through lulls and peaks and valleys. So
that's the NHL.
Yes, sir. So we got a couple more minutes here. Anything else standing out to you? A lot of transactions recently because of all the LTIRs, notable pickups. There's a lot. I noticed a lot of people with their secondary goaltending have been moving around. The Washington Wendigo had Philip Grubauer. He's waiting for Cam Talbot to get. He's going to be out a while, I think. He's got Vassy as a goalie. A lot of the teams scrambling right now for a second legit number 2. I know Josh Halsey of the Wyoming Great Apes. They have a solid tandem. Let's talk about that game real quick. Last night, the Vegas Golden Knights finally lost, but Logan Thompson, Calder Trophy candidate. You think he's still eligible? He had some games last year. They finally lost to the Flames. Did you see that performance last night?
Yes, I did. He played very well. I like him. I wanted to get him, but somebody scooped him up on me. But I wanted to add him.
Yeah, he's got a nice 1-2 punch there, the Wyoming Great Apes. He's got Shesterkin and Logan Thompson. So I'm trying to think of Probert. He ended up picking up Carter Hart. Probert also, I noticed, picked up Brad Marchand. I think Nick Reedy drafted Brad. Brad's going to be out there a little bit, but gone. But
he was drafted late. Didn't he draft him like 8th or 9th round or something like that?
It was in the 11th round. Yeah, it was in the 11th round because that one stood out to me.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about him. And Nick Reedy, I guess he wanted to part ways with him. And
I seen him in the pool, but I don't know. I'm not a Marchand fan, although he's a hell of a hockey player. I didn't want the cancer on my team. And he is 35 years old. So, I mean, like, how many good days does he have left? But I should have thought about it because we're in a non-keeper league at this point. And maybe I should have picked him up for later on. I want that. But I'm not playing like I want it.
Anything to get your name. I mean, if you be Brad Marchand, but unfortunately, we don't have a category on fantasy for licking. So, but no, I think Marchand, he's still got game, but we'll see how that goes. Boston's playing really well, even without him and McAvoy. They lost
they're
last.
Well coached. I mean, let's face it, the Bruins, as much as I hate them, they're a well coached team, and everybody's buying into the coaching system that they have in Boston. It hasn't really changed in years. It reminds me a lot. Well, I'm not anymore, but the Chicago Bears up until the 90s, prior to that, the Bears were a running team. They didn't care about throwing the ball. Give it to Walter. Give it to Walter. They had the same system every year, and it worked for them. And I think they're doing it in Boston too, because they're a consistent team every year. They play the same way. They play the same system, and no matter how much you read into them, you can't stop them. They're still always a good hockey team.
Yep. So we'll see, man. It's been an interesting start to the week so far. I guess that pretty much wind down the show. Grapes' predictions in your matchup and my matchup, he ended up picking Stork and the Langley Scorpions. So we'll see what his track record is. Grapes last week went 3-3 in his predictions. So he's got
rooting for him.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes there. In the Yuma, Texas matchup, he picked Julio, who I think at the beginning of the show was losing, trailing, but long way to go with that one. He obviously picked Scott in the Nova Fire Brigade, so he's back trashing Minnesota's own Nick Reedy, Frozen Norseman. We'll see if Nick can prove him wrong in that one again. And then we got Dave, the Probert Etiquette. He gets Don Cherry's nod of approval. He'll beat Washington according. Waylon's doing a pretty good job hanging with Dave this week, though. I'll tell you this, Stork. Faceoffs won he's got a lot of centers there on Washington. Waylon's got I think that was one of the categories he beat me in. But real quick, DuPont pipe layers were picked over Woody Woodpeckers by Don, and then he picked DB Cooper. He likes DB Cooper a lot. I think that's a great matchup, by the way, with Josh's team. But he picks Mark Raymond in that one. That's about it, Stork. I'll give the floor to you for some final thoughts here. Week, the middle of the week too. What's your biggest takeaway from this week, you think?
Well, I mean, it was a good week. Everybody, like I said, is getting their feelers out for the league and their team, and it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a fun season. I really like our format. It's different and foreign to me because I'm not used to doing it this way for hockey. Our scoring system is much like my baseball leagues where you got to win categories. So I'm adjusting to that too, and I'm sure it's going to be a fun season for everybody, especially for those top six.
Right on. I don't really have too much to add. Like I said, the commissioner's corner. I think I'm going to do it Sunday night. It's going to be a busy weekend. It's my weekend off from work.
Nice.
The weather's going to get a little bit choppy here from what I heard, but just trying to get ready for a winter. But a lot of moving parts. We still will have a better format during the week, putting out products, etc. Like I said, it's a kind of a trial season. Things you guys don't like and should be improved. Pound that suggestion box for me and the Stork here, and we'll jot it down for next year because we want to make this league much improved. I mean, like you said, I'm not used to the Yahoo format as well. I wanted to try something new, so I'm digging the format. I'm still learning it as well. And any kind of topics that arise, we'll bring them up right here on the Storksdesk. That's what it's all about. So that's all I got for tonight, Stork. I think it was a pretty good episode. We were going to record this last night. My apologies. My internet was conking out. Hopefully we don't run into too much more of that, but we'll fix it here.
No, we got through today, so we got through today well. And,
solid show.
Hope everybody has a good week, and it should be a fun hockey league this year, and I'm really pleased to be part of everybody. I've got a bunch of new guys that I've never played against before, so that's cool. I feel sure being the only Canadian, though, let me tell you.
And that's a badge of honor. But that's awesome. So if that's all we got for this week, Stork, I'll I'll just, with our call sign, it's a great day for hockey. Enjoy tonight's 3 games on the slate, and we'll talk to you around this time next week, give or take a day or two. And it's a great day for hockey. Badger Bob Johnson. Let's do that hockey. See you next week, buddy.
Take care, man.
Have a good one.